Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I'm Sunny Pancholi, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions, by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such personage on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Ms. Samira Gupta. She is a versatile professional with an astounding career owing to a wealth of experience spanning over 2 decades. With expertise in coaching, consulting, and training across various industries, she has made significant contributions to the fields of executive presence, leadership skills, communication, and more. With a stellar background, Gupta has held leadership positions in esteemed companies such as Tishman Speyer, Colliers International, Regus, and Vysya Life Insurance. At present, she is the founder and managing director of Samira Gupta Coaching and Consulting Services Private Limited. In this role, she engages in executive coaching, image consulting, and life coaching for various entities from corporate organizations to politicians and celebrities. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders. We appreciate your willingness to share your knowledge and engage in this conversation.
Thank you so much, Sunny. It's a pleasure to be here, and I am grateful for this opportunity where I can share my thoughts, my views, my journey, and I'm really looking forward to it.
All right. So to begin with, our viewers would like to know in brief about your career journey.
Okay, so that's interesting, and that seems like history to me because I've been working for over 35 years now. But I did start my career as a merchandiser in the garment sector for labels like Gap, JCPenney, Walmart, Liz Claiborne, etc., which was the buying side of business, where I learned a lot about the expectations of international clients, and also a lot about how the fabrics are sourced, how the prints are designed, how the garment is constructed, inspected, packed, and shipped, and so on. After that, I moved on to the hospitality industry, where I learned the sales side of business. Okay, I was trained under the British and started selling. This was really a rewarding journey because I understood the whole new world of interacting with people, helping them make the buying decisions, and what was really required to connect with these clients to be able to sell them high-ticket, product or service. So the sales and marketing journey continued thereafter with financial services and real estate, which has been my longest corporate stint. For about 18 years, I have worked in the real estate industry. I work with organizations like Colliers International, Regus Business Centers, Tishman Speyer. These are all multinational real estate organizations who primarily are in the corporate real estate space. And I was the head of commercial leasing and marketing for multiple large projects across India in my capacity of working with these companies. I would say that in my entire corporate career, I have been extremely passionate about my work and did very well for myself. I got rewards and awards and recognition and all of that. I met my targets and I was able to strike the most difficult deals with a lot of ease. And I will give that credit to the British folks who trained me at the start of my sales career. So the knowledge that I gained as a professional was being extremely strategic, resilience, grit, determination, and I would say the power to negotiate and things like that. So over 2 decades in the corporate world, I grew as a professional. and became more and more focused on the performance side, okay, achieving more. I was able to conclude the deals with ease, developed great negotiation skills, and was very task-oriented and strategic, okay? So the doing aspect was sorted. I was doing great. But what I was missing out on was the being aspect. And the being aspect is, my relationships, my work-life balance, my health, my purpose. And I started, I felt that I was kind of losing myself. And that's when I started asking questions. Who will cry when I die? And what am I going to leave behind when I'm gone? And things like that. That trajectory that goes up, and you start realizing and actualizing what will happen when I'm not there. So that's when I decided to fly solo, okay, and took up my consulting business. I felt there was a dire need to help people build confidence, power, good communication skills. So I started with image consulting. I learned that side of business, which helped me create the power and great appearance and attractive persona for many, many corporate professionals and leaders. But what I realized in the process is that only the outer power and outer gravitas would not create the inner power. Okay, so to create the inner confidence, inner strength, and inner power, I then started studying the neuro-linguistic programming and the life coaching side of it. Okay, so I had to give the holistic transformation to my clients. And for that, I needed to build their inner confidence and help them get clarity on who they are, what their value system is, what their beliefs are, and how to navigate through difficult situations. So after that, I studied executive coaching from Marshall Goldsmith. I'm a PCC certified coach from the International Coaching Federation. I also learned various personality assessment tools to help the leaders to realize what's happening in their life. How are they thinking? How do they make decisions? What drives them? What motivates them? And things like that. I also went to Ireland to train in firewalking, because firewalking is a brilliant tool to reprogram your subconscious mind from the state of, oh, I can't do this, to the state of, it's so easy. If I can do this, I can do everything else, right? So I have been learning. I'm a learner at heart. And for the last 1 decade that I have been doing coaching, consulting, and training, I've been in this space as a learner myself. So each client today happens to be 5th September, the Teachers' Day. And I do believe that my biggest learnings have come from my own clients. And of course, all my teachers, and I'm very, very grateful for that. But so my learning journey has continued. One of the reasons why I took up the Independent Directors course from Directors Institute is also to understand what ESG is, what corporate governance is, and how, if I could, how would I contribute, to this area of work. So the learner in me continues to prompt me and trigger me to learn some things new. And I think that has been the biggest success mantra for my success in my business, because I have never stopped growing as a person. So this has been my journey. Talking a little bit about my coaching 4-day. My coaching 4-day has been in the area of executive presence, which is executive coaching. I work with leaders in some of the top organizations. And again, I feel very grateful for that. I have worked with top leaders in BMW, Accenture, ESRI, Indian Oil, Sun Pharma, EY, Deloitte, BCG, Indigo, Taj, right from hospitality to manufacturing to, technology to hospitals, all of these companies. I've even I've done sessions for DRDO, which was a pride. I've done sessions for Indian Army. I've done sessions for Kohler, Dyson, politicians, celebrities, like you said. So yes, it gives me the opportunity to work with different kinds of people, different backgrounds, different thought processes, different value system, a lot of egos, because at that level, at the leadership level, you have to deal with a lot of egos. Why should I do this? And I don't need this and things like that. But that has really helped me to understand how people think at the leadership level. I've been a leader myself. So, but I was always an entrepreneur. So from an entrepreneurial mindset, the whole journey came out. But it has helped me grow myself, and it has helped me create that transformation in the individuals, in the way they speak, in the way they carry themselves, in the way they present themselves, in the way they speak in the public space, and how they are able to communicate very clearly and in a concise manner, considerate manner, their vision to their teams. Okay, so working with leaders has been very, very, I would say, exciting and energizing for me. So this has been my journey. I enjoy my work. I love my work. I also do, this is my coaching space, but I also do a lot of facilitation work. And I work with several organizations in helping them build their employees' image, in the sense, how should they dress, how should they groom, how should they speak, what should their body language be, and in the same way, how their presentation skills, their emotional intelligence, their emotional maturity, inclusivity, and diversity. So there are many, many aspects that I work with my clients with. Okay, so any other question, I'm happy to answer.
All right. Ms. Gupta, thank you for the excellent start to this interview. And it's an honor to interact with someone who exudes such a strong corporate personality.
Thank you.
So continuing our conversation, we would like to know, which are some of the most challenging roles you have handled that have given you great learning experiences?
Quite honestly, Sunny, all my roles have been extremely challenging because, I was first on the buying side, and I knew how the buying psychology works and what needs to be done there, how to manage the expectations of the clients and bridging the gap between the seller and the buyer. And then my role changed to a sales professional. And I was selling hospitality, I was selling insurance, and I was selling real estate. So everything was extremely challenging, meeting the targets, meeting the deadlines, making sure the clients are happy, there's customer engagement, and you're also trying to really collaborate with your other stakeholders, internal stakeholders, external stakeholders. My last organization was investment-based real estate development firm. So a lot of investors used to come and the presentation to all those people, managing expectations. So I would say all of that was very, very challenging. But the most challenging part of my career so far has been that drastic shift from being a corporate director to becoming an image consultant, and overnight becoming that person who has to start from scratch. So there were times my bank balance was always pretty high, I was earning well, and there were times there was zero. So that was the most challenging part. And I guess there were many, many moments which were weak, and I wanted to go back to my corporate job. I did have opportunities, but I stuck on to my path. And that was challenging because initially everyone opposed it. Everyone said, have you gone nuts? What are you doing? You're doing so well. You could go just further up. And why would you want to just leave everything and come down to starting something new at that age? So I'm 56 now. And 10 years ago, I was 46. And that's not when you start your, absolutely new innings. So that was very challenging. But one of my mentors told me that you have to give it 1,000 days. You cannot quit before giving it 1,000 days. And somehow that really, I caught on to that and said, no, I have to give it 1,000 days, which was clearly 3 years. And after 3 years, there was no looking back. But those 3 years were extremely challenging. What I learned in that process, many, many things. I learned resilience. I learned how to, because there was no one to teach me how to go about this business, 10 years ago. And that learning a lot of things on my own. So today we have ChatGPT. Okay, today we have a lot of things. You just type there and you get a lot of answers. But 10 years ago, we had to do everything on our own. And I think the learner in me, the achiever in me, the responsible person in me helped me to get ahead and get forward. So all of these things, my learnings have been huge. A lot of things. My self-confidence went up from a small group. I'm now addressing 1,000 people and sometimes even bigger. I'm coaching, I'm sitting and coaching the top leaders, the C-suite leaders, and I'm able to do that pretty well. So I think the learning has been huge, and I have huge gratification. I feel very fulfilled. I think that I found my purpose. And so this is what I enjoy. You wake me up in the middle of the night and say, you've got to coach somebody, I'll be happy, I'll do it, you know? So yes, a lot of things. So what I was missing out in my corporate job, the balance that I was talking about, myself that I was talking about, I was able to find all of that. I was able to really create a fulfilling life, you know, So earlier, very silly thing, but I will share with you. Earlier, if I'm driving on the road and somebody would hit my car, okay, I would be angry. I would be extremely angry, like anybody else, you know, like car mein bang kar diya. But now, if that happens, it's a very different reaction. It's a very different response. It's like, okay, it's done. Do I really want to stop here, create a scene, and hamper the traffic? Kill my time, kill my energy, kill my peace of mind? The answer is no, right? So the answer is no. You make peace with that. So I'm just saying that it's a shift of thought. It's a shift of mindset. That it's not. I mean, you will be careful when you're driving. You will not indulge in a road rage and things like that. But if it still happens, somebody cutting across, somebody just hitting the car, I think I will choose my peace over fighting with somebody. So I guess when you get into that space, there's more acceptance, allowance, and peace. So you're choosing your peace over something else, and then your response or reaction to a lot of things become easy. So you're able to navigate through things much easier, because now you are focusing on what you can influence rather than what you cannot. Right? So I think this has been the biggest learning for me.
Okay, quite interesting and very inspiring. Truly, your story, your journey is truly inspiring to all our viewers. Okay, so this leads to our next question. What, according to you, constitutes true leadership skills?
Oh, that's clearly a question on the work that I do. There are several skills, but I would talk about few which are extremely important. I'll give you a formula. Leadership is equal to communication plus vision and strategy plus decision making, and that is equal to executive presence and grace. Right? So you need to communicate clearly with conciseness and consideration. A leader must be able to communicate to create the impact. So the words matter, the tonality matters, and the intent matters. So communication without any of these will actually fail. Okay, so communication is extremely important. So I might be thinking whatever I'm thinking, but if I'm unable to communicate that in a clear, concise, and considerate manner, my communication won't be complete. Okay, so it's an amalgamation of your words, your tone, and your expression in body language. The second is the vision and strategic thinking. Do you have a vision as a leader? Can you think ahead? Are you able to really strategize what you really want to do, what you want your team to do? So do you have a personal GPS? Okay, a GPS stands for goal, plan, and strategy. Do you have a personal GPS that you are taking yourself and your team through? So that vision is extremely important. And the third element is decision making. Decision making has to do with how tough-minded are you? Do you have the ability to take difficult decisions with ease? because decision making is one aspect that most leaders suffer. They're unable to take decisions. Even the smallest decisions sometimes become very difficult. So whether it's easy or difficult, you should be able to take decisions. And that is a function of how strong you are from your mindset. How much do you trust yourself? How much do you believe in your ability? Do you know what your strengths are? Do you know what you're capable of? Do you draw reference from past successes? And it's a function of a lot of things that you really have already, but you have to also remind yourself. Okay. And of course, the last but not the least is how empathetic you are, how graceful you are. In a difficult situation, do you lash out, or do you operate from grace, right? So grace under fire, for instance, that there is fire, but are you panicking? Are you screaming, shouting, or are you able to navigate through it with grace? So I guess these are the most important leadership skills ever. And there are many, and we can talk about them separately, right? So
Right.
there you go.
Okay, rightly said, Ms. Samira Gupta. So now that we have discussed your career journey, your professional pursuits, roles and responsibilities, your motivational things, and let's move on to the subject of corporate governance and ESG. So here is my question to you. What is your inspiration behind upskilling yourself in ESG and corporate governance then?
I would say it's very simple. It was a natural progression for me, because I told you, I was in my entire corporate career over 2 decades, I was focused on doing, performing, achieving, which was the space that I was in. And I did very well for myself. And then I moved on to building my being, okay, which is that, who do I want to be? I'm doing so well in the corporate space, in my functional area, but who do I want to be as a person? Do I want to be this good person that people feel safe around? Do I want to be this good person who's able to actually create transformation in people's lives and help them become better, achieve more, and things like that? And then came the responsibility and accountability bit. How can I contribute? So professional growth, I told you I'm a learner. So enhancing my knowledge in the skills of ESG and corporate governance would definitely open up some more opportunities for me, and I would be able to understand what exactly ESG is, what corporate governance is. And if I'm working with all these leaders who are at the top level, this knowledge can help me help them further. Okay. And then obviously there's a need to contribute to the sustainability part. Now, how can if I have that knowledge, then I can impart that knowledge. I can contribute. Even if I'm sitting in the board, I can contribute and I can share that, the sustainability can be achieved or attained by doing X, Y, Z. So the personal fulfillment, prioritizing sustainability, and the ethical practices are all linked together. So there is a value system around it. My core value is that I have to be extremely responsible. I have to make sure that I'm not wasting anything. I'm creating a good relationship. I'm following the rules. I'm very traditional that way. Then, whatever the guidelines are laid out, they are followed because they are going to make things better. And of course, ESG and corporate governance have global relevance today. It's becoming increasingly important on a global scale. So developing expertise in these areas can make you a global citizen. So when you're working with international clients, you're working with global citizens, then this is something that's really taking a lot of importance. So that would help. And of course, there is regulatory compliance, and then there is a positive impact overall that you're going to create. So these were my motivators. These were my inspirations to take up this course and study this and understand. And I had some idea about, CSR, as we used to call it earlier. But when I studied this entire program, then there were a lot of revelations and there were a lot of smaller details that I came to know about what corporate governance is and how this can really help any organization to really become a great organization, by following these practices and following the ESG regulations. So yes, that was my motivation.
Amazing. All right. So before we conclude our discussion on this subject, I would like to ask you, as an ESG and corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
So I talked about some in the past in your previous question, but I would say mostly they are ethical and moral values like integrity, honesty, commitment to doing what is right for the society and stakeholders. So I'm a good citizen, and I think this just reinstates my faith into what should be done and how things should be done. So, for example, sustainable practices that consider environmental impact, social responsibility, long-term economic sustainability. So I'll share with you, I'm a firewalking instructor. So each time I conduct a firewalk, I make sure that I come back and I plant 15 trees. Though the firewalking event requires very, not so much of wood, but this is my own responsibility that I feel, that I plant 15 trees after every firewalking event. So I guess this is extremely important, how you feel, not only about your immediate surroundings, but at large, at the societal level, communal level, global level, India level. So this is extremely important on the sustainability aspect. Transparency is also an important value that I bring in. Communication with transparency. So everyone around you, internal, external stakeholders, know what is happening, and they can take a very well-informed decision. Okay, so transparency is one of the values. Also, the accountability and responsibility that I was talking about. That is also something that I hold very high in my value system. Also, promoting diversity and inclusivity. So are you just dropping all the conscious, unconscious biases, accepting people, working with people, collaborating with people, really listening to them, understanding. So a lot of diversity and inclusion comes into place, working with a lot of different kind of people to achieve the common goal. And of course, there is the legality part of it. So the legal and regulatory compliance is also something that I would clearly bring to the table, and say adherence to laws and regulations, understanding them, knowing them, highlighting them. And that's how I can contribute to the whole bit.
Okay. So moving along, let's talk about the technology landscape, since it has become an integral part of our lives. So our viewers would like to know from you, what are some of the most remarkable changes you have seen in the field of technology, right? And what changes do you expect to see with the advent of all the things like IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, everything?
So I know only one thing, and I'd like to talk about that technology is important for everyone to grow. Innovation is important, creativity is important. But we should not miss out on the human element. We should not miss out on, in the world of technology, we should not become so technology dependent that we miss out on the human relationships and human aspect. So I would only say that about technology. I know one thing, that AI is really helping people to draft things and create things. But in the process, I hope people don't stop thinking. People don't stop creating themselves, because they become so dependent on the technology that they will stop thinking, because there's no need to think anymore. It's like, okay, there was a time we used to go out to buy stuff. And now if you tell your children that, you know what, you have to get fruits, you have to get vegetables, and say, yeah, it's on the fingertips. And there is Blinkit, and there is Dunzo and Zepto and whatnot. So it's good to have convenience. It's good to have all of these things. But at the same time, my fear is that if we become too dependent on the technology, we will miss out on a lot of things which are extremely important for the mere purpose of innovation and creation. Okay, so that's my take on technology. it's good to have it, but let's not have them rule us. We should still be the rulers and masters.
Absolutely, rightly said. Okay, so this brings us to the last question of the session, and here it is. We are building a community of industry magnates. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. So what are your thoughts about these initiatives taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Heval Mehta, and the whole team of World Development Corporation?
I would say that they are doing a fantastic job. The way I can talk about my course, these initiatives are great. And the fact that they are helping people go through these courses, go through these programs, also is a huge contribution towards ESG and corporate governance, because, whether people become independent directors or not, whether they are able to take up some role or not, but just the knowledge bit will really, I would say, energize them, will really help them know what to do in the right moment, right? So it's an incredible job. That's all I can say. And I want to wish them all the best. I hope that they do well and they become bigger and they're able to invite more and more people to go through their programs to know what ESG and corporate governance is all about.
Great. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I am confident that your insights will inspire future leaders. Thank you, Ms. Samira Gupta, for joining us today. We wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute has unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds.